Well, we now know that the Texas House has delivered articles of impeachment against Attorney General Ken Paxton to the state Senate. That literally just happened a couple of hours ago. We want to talk about this even further. We're going to be joined on the phone right now by Fox 4 Dallas reporter Stephen Dial, and he has been covering all of these developments throughout this holiday weekend. Stephen, do you have us?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing, Andrew?
Good. Stephen, thanks so much for giving us your time. You've been reporting on this extensively over the last 48 hours, but a lot has happened in just the last hour. Get us up to speed. What did we watch today there in Austin?
Yeah, and you actually said it perfectly heading into that break. Basically, it's infighting in the Republican Party. So Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's been in office for a number of years, has had the cloud of scandal over him for a number of years, but overwhelmingly reelected in November by Texas voters. What just happened about an hour ago was the Texas House created the 12-member board, and that board is basically, they will serve as the prosecution in this case when they have the trial in the Senate. And so just like viewers may remember when former President Donald Trump was impeached, the members of the House team walked the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. So that's just what played out in Austin. That 12-member team comprised of the investigative committee itself, which was 5 members, and 7 additional members, still majority Republican members. They delivered the articles of impeachment to the Senate. So this is the official kind of starting gun, if you would say, as to now the ball is in the Senate's court. Now everyone's looking to see if Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick will set a trial date today, which is not expected because it's the last day of session. If he does not, Governor Abbott has 10 days to call the Senate into a hearing to set this trial.
No, that's such a good point, Stephen, because the session is over. Senators are going to have to come back and preside over this trial and vote on whether or not to basically, convict or acquit here. You just brought up Governor Abbott. He's been quite mum throughout this whole thing, hasn't he, Stephen?
Yes, he has. And, I mean, he's kind of doing, this is politics. Everything is politics. He's staying out of the way because this appears, at least from, the people who are throwing jabs online and whatnot, this appears to be a fight between a Republican speaker, Dave Phelan, and the Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton. Now, Collin County has a lot of conservative Republican members, and all 5 state representatives in Collin County that are Republican voted to impeach Ken Paxton. Collin County is his home county, and so that sent a message. And today, the Collin County GOP and others had a rally, and basically the Collin County GOP chair told voters to basically vote for all of the primary candidates that will be challenging these Republicans. And it's important to note, these Republicans aren't like moderate Republicans. A lot of these Republicans, voted for one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the country. These Republicans voted to ban children from drag shows and trying to pass different bills that impact transgender people. And so these aren't very moderate Republicans, and they sided with 55 of their other colleagues. 60 Republicans voted for impeachment. 61 Democrats voted for impeachment. So this was a super majority. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, Steve, we're showing your tweet here, and you say about 100 people at the Collin County Courthouse rally in support for Paxton. Like you said, it's Paxton's home county, and the entire Collin Republican delegation voted to impeach Paxton. So Paxton's home district, especially, Stephen, the Republicans there really not taking this lightly. I guess from someone who covers Texas politics very closely, were you surprised by how many Republicans voted to impeach him on Saturday?
Honestly, I will say I was a bit surprised that it was 121 to 23, but a lot of people in the back channels who know what they're talking about were telling me Republicans, I mean, this is a Republican-led House, a Republican speaker, a Republican-led committee. They weren't going to bring this to a full vote if they didn't have the confidence to know that a lot of their colleagues would join them. And so despite there being 4 hours of debate and members saying that they didn't agree with the process, Again, they said they knew what cards they had, and 60 Republicans joining 61 Democrats is nothing to scoff at, and that is a large number. Now, some of those Republicans who voted said they didn't agree with all 20 articles, but it was a one vote kind of thing. And some of those Republicans said that they also didn't say that this vote meant he's guilty, but they said what they heard was strong enough to let senators decide.
Yeah, and Stephen, you kind of alluded to the differences because a lot of Americans watch very closely the two impeachments of Donald Trump. But at the state level there in Texas, it is quite different because after Paxton was impeached on Saturday, he is suspended from office. He can no longer do his official duties until we see how the trial pans out. Also, something that's interesting, he can defend himself if he wants to. Are we expecting that, or is he going to have a team of attorneys? Is he going to be present throughout all of this, you think?
That's the $100 million question. Andrew Murr, who's the Republican committee chair of the investigation committee, in the press conference moments ago, actually said, under the Constitution, the accused is allowed to participate, the accused is allowed to be there, the accused is allowed to have representation. At the very least, we know Ken Paxton will have a legal team representing him. Now, the question is, will he be there? The other elephant in the room is, and while this is only the third time in Texas history, 1975 was the last time, what also is the elephant in the room, his wife, Angela Paxton, is a state senator, and the senators are the jurors. And it's 31 total senators. You have to have a 2/3 vote, so 21, to remove her from office. And so we have no indication as to if she will recuse herself, if the lieutenant governor will ask her to recuse herself. It's not common that a juror is the wife of the accused.
Yeah, this is just, Stephen, really so fascinating to see the intra-party fights that are very, very public. You were tweeting as well that, text messages between some of these members, between Dan Patrick, Ken Paxton, on full display, really the airing of some of the dirty laundry going on there in Austin. What should we expect going forward, though, this week? Just lastly, Stephen.
So the House just sine died. I have to check to see if the Senate has as well. Now, this is what is on top of this. Just puts a mountain on top of a mountain, because lawmakers are already expected that Governor Abbott, in the next 24 hours, he's going to call a special session because a list of priorities that the governor and lieutenant governor wanted have been blocked by the House. Keep in mind, the House is led by Republicans. Texas had an unprecedented budget surplus, primarily due to inflation, and both chambers want to pass some type of property tax relief to homeowners, but both sides don't agree on how to do that, and so that bill did not pass. The governor and lieutenant governor and some Republicans in the House want school vouchers, basically providing thousands of dollars for parents to take their children out of public schools and pay for private school. The Texas House, Republican-led, voted in the budget to say we will not send tax dollars to private schools. And so those two huge items didn't even pass this session, which is now over. And so we already were going to have a special session. And then now on top of this, we have a Senate trial as well.
All right, Stephen Dial, we appreciate your time, your reporting, especially on this holiday weekend. We're probably going to be checking in again. This story's not going anywhere. Stephen, thanks so much.
Definitely. All right, man. Bye-bye.